Hey guys, so we are in the beginning of 2018, first quarter. I know that some of you guys are perhaps seniors in college and high school, and you're getting ready to approach graduation this year. So I really want to target you guys and talk a little bit about something that's important, a couple mindsets or a couple things that will benefit you a lot in the future. So first off, I talked a little bit about this before when I talked about is college really important. And I don't want to talk about it in that manner, but I mentioned something in that video that I want to talk a little bit about here. One of the things, especially for college students, one of the things that I found is that many students get into this mindset that they're going to be 100% prepared for the world that's ahead, and that is not always the case. When you graduate, it is also your responsibility to continue to study. It's also your responsibility to continue to learn, and this also applies to high school graduates. If you guys are thinking about joining college, it is not going to be just your teacher's responsibility to teach you everything that you need to know to prepare you for the world. It is also your responsibility. What separates some of the people who get ahead in life, what separates them, with perhaps them able to get a job a little bit quicker or whatever, what separates them is their ability to continue learning, their ability to put in more work, their ability to do more hours when no one's telling them to. We see this in many different areas of life. You can have that sports player who, someone like Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, those guys put in many hours beyond what they did during, I guess, standard practice. And this is very important when it comes to your education. It's very important when it comes to being out there in the job market. These things are very important. So your ability, your willingness, your focus on how important this is to be able to do more is really going to benefit you a lot. So keep that in mind. It's not just going to be your instructor's responsibility to teach you everything. You have to put in the work also. You're not going to be 100% prepared in the job world. Many times I have found that I remember one year I did this course on, I think it was called operating systems, and it was the first time I ever dove off into Linux. And out of everything that I learned that semester, and I can look back and say that perhaps I should have put in a little bit more time on this. Taking into account class loads and all that sort of stuff. Maybe it wasn't possible at that point in time. I won't say it wasn't possible. I can say that I probably could have pushed a little bit harder. But anyways, I remember taking this course, and over the course of that year, I remember when I first started working at a job that that emphasized a little bit of that back end work. I learned more on that first day of that job versus everything that I learned through this entire course. And oftentimes that's going to be the case. That's going to be the case when you get out and you start working. Many of the things that you've learned now, sure, college and education is a very important foundation. These are things that you build on. What you learn in your earlier days of education, you continue to build on that. So of course, you always want to continue building on your foundation. But the thing is, that first day of work, when you start working, just about every day you're going to be encountering something new, and I think that applies across many industries. And if it doesn't, then there's a bit of I think there's something to be a little bit warned about here. So the second point that I want to talk about, and it was kind of the main point of this video, is how the future is going to be changing, how the future changes, educational wise and job wise. A couple months ago, I read this book called The Truth About Your Future by Rick Edelman, and he talks about exponential technology and how that's going to affect the future and how we should prepare, to be able to have control over our lives financially in the future. Through these advancements. And AI is one of those things that many of us are aware of. Many of us are, many people are afraid of what sort of effect it's going to have on the future as far as jobs go. So this is one of the things that I think it is very important if you are a student now, or if you're about to start college, you're a high school student, you're about to start college, or perhaps if you're about to graduate from college. That book, Rick talked about how, of course, we're seeing changes when it comes to it. How we receive education. There are more online classes now. There are more, we're able to take courses in an instant now. We don't always have to sit in a class to be able to take them. One of the things that he mentions in this area is that in the future, it is going to be more important that we focus on the skills that we have versus the degree we have. It's not uncommon to come across someone who now basically becomes their title. They become their degree. They become their job title, and that is what they are. With so many changes in many industries, so many jobs that are going to perhaps be threatened in the future, it's going to be important to have skills. It's going to be important to be able to bounce perhaps from industry to industry, or even not so much as the need to do this. I think it's something that's going to be very beneficial. Many people get off into their jobs. Many people start their careers, and they're, perhaps before they graduate, when they're looking for that first job, they're very excited about what's to come. And perhaps soon after getting that job, months in, a couple years in, they find themselves perhaps bored. They find themselves having this thought of something missing in life and not having thrill in their life. They're just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, and they don't enjoy what they're doing. What's the common thing to do? For a lot of people who are perhaps able to do that financially, a lot of people go back to school. But that's something that's probably much easier for those of you who perhaps are married, or will be married, and have someone else who will be able to sort of absorb the financial burden while you're doing that. But for those of you who are not able to do that, I guess this is one of the benefits of the sort of educational progression that we're having now with being able to take these courses online. So many people, they will just go back and take more courses. And that's one of the things that he mentioned in the book, that in the future, people are going to not so much rely on one degree, and perhaps relying on one degree puts you in a much riskier position, with industries closing, perhaps being replaced by new technology. So it is very important that you don't get into this mindset, or you don't fall into this mindset that, hey, I am going to get this degree and I'm going to be all set for my life. Or, hey, I've learned all this stuff in college. Now I'm going to be set for the rest of my life. It is not going to work that way. And if you don't I think it's good, and I don't want to talk about this for having a grim view of the future and jobs, but I think that it's very beneficial to have an idea of what's going on, have an idea of what's going on, the rate of technological advancement, what this can potentially mean for the future job market versus what it is now, and be able to say, I want to continue to learn. I need to continue to learn. Reading is one of the things that I have found to be a very enjoyable hobby. It's not necessarily a hobby for me anymore. It's just something I value reading. I value being able to learn more things as time goes on. And so perhaps this is something that you would like to, or you should, integrate into your daily schedule. And not only that, continue to read books that you can learn skills from. Continue to listen to people that you can learn skills from. This is going to become very important. And those who are going to be affected the most in the future, perhaps natively, are those who are not going to be aware of these changes. It's going to be those who are more so hit by some change suddenly because they weren't aware of things as they went on. They're going to be hit by these changes. And when you hear, hey, this company is going to be closing down, we apologize, we value your all your years of work, but unfortunately we have to close down due to loss of profits or whatever. And you look into perhaps the reason for that is because something else replaced it. Think about Blockbuster, Netflix, what it did, and the various other industry businesses that emphasize on digital video viewing and streaming. So it is very important to be aware of the changes that are going on, and to not fall into this mindset that I am all set, that I've learned everything that I need to know, or that I'm going to learn everything from my instructor, my teacher. No, it's the ability to be flexible in both your learning, the ability to grab more skills, to learn is going to be very important. And oftentimes you may find that, hey, I want to jump off into a completely different industry. That's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to be able to adjust, to learn more. So I think the main point is that you should continue to learn, always continue to learn. If you're not learning something, I find, at least me, I feel as if I'm not learning something, then I'm falling behind. Shortly after graduating, I found that many of the things I had studied during certain courses, I suddenly did not remember them anymore. So one final point that I want to make is that when you're, perhaps this will apply more so for you guys who are just beginning college, and also some of you guys who are graduating or are soon to graduate. Do not think that the grades that you made, do not think that those are going to determine what you are. Do not think that your grades determine your skills. You have to be focused on the skills. You have to be focused on your abilities. I graduated with a very high GPA, much higher than I did in high school. I graduated with, I think, like a 3.9 something. I don't remember the approximate number, but I believe that I was like one of the second highest, I had one of the second highest GPAs during my graduating class in college. And I never once thought that defined me. I never once thought that meant I was smart, or that meant I was intelligent. No, I never thought that. And I never thought that meant that I deserved a certain job. And I think many people fall into this mindset or have this thought that, hey, I have this really nice GPA. That means I'm entitled to this job. It does not mean that. If I could go back in the past and talk to my high school self, I would tell myself that learning is fun, and that understanding why things work the way they work and how they truly work is much more important than just being able to make a grade on the course. I spent a lot of time studying during my past years. I spent a lot of time in the books. So this was something that didn't necessarily hurt me as much, but I remember with math being one of the subjects, I used to struggle with math, and it's kind of crazy. After I finished college, that is when I started kind of practicing math a little bit more on my own, and I found that it was fun, and I found that it was just getting a problem right that was not as enjoyable as learning why that method solved the problem, or that there were multiple methods of solving the problem. And this is something that you have to tell yourself. Perhaps your teachers won't tell you this. They won't, beat that into your head, but you have to be aware of that. Understanding the how and the why is very important, and that process is fun. So don't just focus on the grade itself, and don't elevate yourself on this high hill and feel entitled to a job, or feel entitled to anything in this world based off of the grades that you had. Now, sure, those things are great. They're very important. For many, it's a reflection of the hard work that they put in, and that is a much better way to sort of look at your grades, sort of look at your GPA. It's a reflection of the hard work that you're willing to put in. It's not a reflection of, hey, you made an A on a test, because when you get out in the job world, they don't care what test you made an A on. They don't care. What they care about is what you're able to do, what sort of value you're able to bring to them. And many times we learn things in school and college that don't necessarily prepare us for what we're going to be doing on our job. So it is very important that you have that in mind. Now, I know I said that my last point was my last one, but I want to say one more thing here. Think about what you're doing for your career. What you're preparing yourself for. You don't want to say that I'm preparing myself to be this, or I'm preparing myself to be this job title. You don't want to do that. You want to more so think about it as this. I'm preparing myself to be able to do this that's going to provide a value to my life. Don't treat your job as just a job. Think about it as something that perhaps gives you the ability to enjoy life. It gives you money to enjoy life. Money isn't the goal. The goal is the experience that you're able to have, the lifestyle that you're able to have. Those are the things that you really want to focus on, and those are the things that are going to motivate you a little bit more versus just working for the money or working to pay your bills. Now, those things are important, but think about it that way. You don't want to get so ingrained in, I am this, I am an engineer, I am a accountant, I am a doctor, or whatever. That is, those titles are good, but the main thing is to think about them and what sort of value they're going to bring back to your life. And I find that way of thinking about it pushes me a lot more to be able to learn more things and to branch off into different areas. So guys, that's all I want to talk about. This video ended up being a lot longer than I wanted it to be, probably twice as long, but as I talked, I thought about these other things that I really want to get out there. So I hope that you guys have watched. For you guys who are near graduating, good luck to you on what's next, whether it's you're graduating from high school and you're about to start college. Good luck on college. And for you guys who are getting ready to join the job market, good luck. But until next time, I'll talk to you later.